I request Professor Prem Singh to deliver the keynote address. Our humble request, sir, we are running out of time and international audience as well as the presenters are waiting now, so please.
At the outset, I again convey my thanks to the ALDI President and his team for conferring today's today's Life Achievement Awards on me on this occasion for doing whatever I could do for this profession. Though whatever I did for the libraries, I did for some money because I was getting salary for that. But still, they recognized it, and therefore convey my thanks to them. And I also convey my thanks to the Honorable Vice Chancellor to host this conference. Respected Dr. S. Ayyappan, Honorable Chancellor of Central Agricultural University Imphal and Chairman Karnataka Science and Technology Academy and former Secretary there and Director General ICAR. Esteemed Dr. R.C. Agarwal, Chief Guest of the Day, a scientist par excellence who is sitting in the driver's seat to push the agricultural education for future achievements and solution of food problems of the country, not only of the country, but the entire world. Respected Dr. S. Rajendra Prasad, Honorable Vice Chancellor of this university and host of the conference, Dr. Virenjanulu, President, ILD and University Librarian, NIT Warangal, Dr. K.S. Kanpal, General Secretary of the Association, Dr. V. Srinivas, Organizing Secretary of the conference, officers of the university, teachers of this university, distinguished librarians who have come on from across the country to attend this conference, my senior colleagues, Dr. Mesh Babu, Dr. Chandran, Dr. Madhav Pandey, and others who are present over here, media persons, others present here, ladies and gentlemen. Before I embark on my keynote address, though Dr. Virenjalu has already said what I'm going to reiterate, but I could not, I'm unable to contain myself without reiterating the impressions which I've got about Dr. S. Ayyappan, though he is not here. About 10 years back, when we revived this association, we were planning to hold a conference, and it was already, the dates were already decided, almost already decided, and Dr. Ayyappan has taken it as Secretary there and Director General of Indian Council of Agricultural Research. The conference was assigned to Indian Agricultural Statistical Research Institute. Myself and the then organizing secretary, Dr. Vaishakhi, we dropped in his office, and he had taken over ICRS DG and secretary there a few days back. We requested him to be the chief guest on the occasion of this conference. He accepted it. He was very humble, made us comfortable, offered a cup of tea, accepted our request, and he was the chief guest on the occasion of that conference and blessed the association with his blessings. Again, after 10 years, he is with us and showered his blessings on us. And I'm surprised, rather I'm happy to know and to learn that he has as deep knowledge about the librarianship as we as professional librarians have. Whatever he was talking about the role of the libraries which they can play in agricultural education and research and other areas of human development like literacy mission and adult education programs. Sirs, I'm thankful to LD for giving me an opportunity to deliver this keynote address on this occasion. As all of us know, and all scientists and educationists know, that librarianship has been in existence in tandem with education and research from the very beginning, in its primitive stage, that is, in the primitive stage of the librarianship. The producer of knowledge were performing the roles of librarian also. Though India had a very vast storehouse of knowledge in various forms, especially manuscripts, yet it remained confined to a limited but privileged few. The invention of printing technology in mid-15th century gave impetus to all-round percolation of education and new ideas through printing of books, journals, newspapers, etc. This multiplicity of knowledge carriers culminated into the evolution of librarianship as a separate discipline in 19th century in Europe and USA. India joined the evolution process after Dr. S.R. Ranganathan. Dr. S.R. Ranganathan, who is now considered as the father of librarianship in India, who was a professor of mathematics at that time in Madras University, was entrusted with the responsibility to run its university library in 1924. He joined this post as an enthusiast. Thank you, Dr. Manjunath, for inviting me again to deliver the rest part of the keynote address, which I couldn't do during the main inaugural function. During the post-independence period, the government of India constituted 3 main commissions. The first one headed by Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, and this commission was known as University Education Commission. The second one was the National Education Commission, constituted in 1964 under the chairmanship of Professor D.S. Kothari, and the third one was constituted in 2005 under the chairmanship of Sambit Roda, and this commission was known as National Education Commission. All these commissions reported that there is the libraries play a very important role, and keeping in view the roles which they can play, and keeping in view the expenditure that was being incurred on the libraries, they made a recommendation, a very significant recommendation, that 6% of the university's budget, 6% of the university's budget should be spent on libraries, and 50% of which, that is 50% of the budget to be allocated to the university library, should be spent on the staff. A similar recommendation was made by Thomas Perry Committee in 1965 in Great Britain, and another commission which was constituted by the government of the United States under the chairmanship of Truman, and that is known as Truman University Commission, University Education Commission. And he, Dr. Sri Truman, who became later President of the United States, reported that library is second only to the instructional staff in its importance for high quality instruction and research. Such was the importance of the library, and such is the importance of libraries. Similarly, I was going through the document National Education Policy 2020. This policy document has mentioned libraries in a number of places, and advocated the creation of new libraries and the expansion of existing libraries, right from school libraries to higher education libraries. And they have also envisioned a number of problems which the Indian higher education is encountering, and they envision, the policy document envisions of the system for revamping of the system, including training of teachers, yet lack of infrastructure and knowledge sources libraries and upgradation of skills of the library staff do not find place in the list of problems which the policy document has envisaged. Likewise, the librarians in ICR firmament, that is ICR institutes and its deemed universities, have remained ignored all through. What I'm saying is that the staff has been remained all through, though they have been providing a lot of financial input for modernization of libraries which fall within their purview. Currently, there are over 75 university libraries, including 4 deemed libraries, and 64 research institutes, 13 project directorates, 15 national research centers, and 6 bureaus of ICR, which have their libraries. The libraries of IERI, IVRI, NDRI, and CIFE have been designated as national libraries in their respective areas of specialization to complement and supplement the information needs at the national level. Some of the agriculture universities, such as this university, that is University of Agriculture Sciences, Haryana Agriculture University, GB Pant Agriculture, University of Science and Technology, Jayasankar Telangana State Agriculture University, Coimbatore Agriculture, Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, and so on, have as big libraries whose knowledge resources count runs into 3 to 5 lakhs each. And combination of such libraries, you will accept, or you will imagine that it will constitute a very big national agricultural information system. The SAUs and ICR libraries got a shot in their arms when they were included in the ICR's National Agricultural Innovation Project unveiled in 2005, and again in National Agricultural Higher Education Project unfolded in 2017. Special input was injected for strengthening of knowledge sources, staff skill upgradation, and adoption of new technologies for modernization. Focus on transforming the libraries from print to digital media led to the launching of several digital initiatives, namely eGrant, AgriCat, Krishi Course, and Ideal Integrated Digital Ensemble of Agriculture Libraries, SERA, Consortium of E-Resources in Agriculture, and Indian Agriculture Research Journal. After the financial input to the libraries by ICR, you must be witnessing the paradigm shifts that are taking place and that have taken place in the agricultural libraries. The paradigm shifts that have taken place are visible and tangible, and they are like this. There is a shift from paper to digital media. Access to knowledge resources has transcended the library's opening hours, making them 24/7 access to knowledge resources reality. Libraries are endeavoring to outreach their patrons on their desktops at home, in office, and during travel. Location of knowledge sources is shifting from the library to the publishers, resulting in easing pressure on storage space. Similarly, sharing of resources has become easier and faster. Preservation of knowledge for posterity, which is one of the main responsibilities, very big responsibilities of libraries, has become easier. You know, Dr. Ranganathan's 5 laws of library science, that is, books are for use, every reader his book, every book his reader, save the time of the reader, and library is a growing organism, are self-speaking. In that, the librarian should facilitate the use of knowledge centers. He should vouch for meeting the information needs of every library patron. Investment made on knowledge carriers should be justified by making every book accessible to library users. Library staff should help library users by providing required information to their patrons. from within and outside. And finally, nascent knowledge resources in all forms and formats should be added to meet growing and challenging needs of the library user. In order to fulfill the dreams enshrined in these laws, the agricultural and other libraries have many challenges before them. And some of these challenges are: one, libraries will continue to struggle to convert their print resources into digital form until they become fully virtual. Though we are seeing that there are virtual libraries, but still we have to struggle to convert the rest of the material into digital form. The indigenous knowledge in India has remained uncharted. So collection of these resources and their digitization will be an engaging task. In-house aggregation of knowledge available in the form of open access sources needs to be harnessed to augment scope of their resources. Higher amount of internet bandwidth and uninterrupted connectivity will be challenging task. Librarians should learn to optimize the use of funds and maximize the utilization of their resources. Mustering adequate funds to sustain library services will be highly challenging. Procurement and organization of digital resources are the mind-boggling tasks that will keep testing the nerves of the librarians. Librarians will have to keep pace with the emerging trends and upgrade their skills for eye-to-eye contact with new technologies for continuous improvement of library services. Librarians must think of making their libraries eco-friendly. Librarians must think of making their libraries eco-friendly by harvesting solar energy to meet the energy requirements. And you know, the library is the ideal place in any university setup for harvesting of solar energy, because they have large flat area, they are multi-storied, therefore they are able to receive the sunlight directly, and all the energy needs of the libraries can be met out through the implementation of solar energy systems. Similarly, librarians, I mean, they are heading towards green libraries because most of the books are being created in the form in electronic form. That means less use of paper, and less use of paper means lesser deforestation, and lesser deforestation means your own contribution towards climatic problems. Librarians must foresee COVID-like situations and develop their libraries to meet such challenges in future. And you know, the COVID-19 has brought the entire world to its knees, but the libraries rose to the occasion because they have already started subscribing e-content and making it accessible to their stakeholders. So libraries made the required information and knowledge accessible to their stakeholders, the students, the teachers, the scientists, the educationists, on their laptops, and they were able to complete their projects, to complete their thesis writing, or complete other tasks which were assigned to them in time. So library came handy to them, and the people have now started realizing the importance of libraries in such difficult times. Dr. Ayappan has already spoken on this area. He has said that libraries can play a wonderful role in education system, in the advancement of research, and in running literacy programs and all that. Preservation of knowledge for posterity is the responsibility of librarians. This will demand their special attention. See, the manuscripts are available in this country from a long past, but they have not. Many of them are still not available in the libraries. They are lying in the personal possessions of the families. There is a need. There is a recommendation in the National Education Commission report that attempt should be made to acquire such knowledge resources from the private persons and place in the libraries, and they should be digitized. So that is going to play a very difficult, I mean, librarians are required to pay special attention to that, and it will be a difficult task for them. So though the pressure on space for stacking of books is easing, the pressure on stacking space is decreasing. It is decreasing because we have stopped subscribing quite a good number of print journals. For example, I'm told here in this university library, the subscription for foreign journals has almost been stopped. So they are subscribing Indian journals. And there are many journals like biological abstracts, like chemical abstracts. The print copy of the biological extracts can fill up at least 10 to 15 racks every year, each of them, because each of them is published weekly, and a weekly document was a very big document. So the digitization of libraries has eased the pressure on storage, but there is going to be a demand for larger reading space. I can say it on my personal experience. I was working in MD University, Rohtak. There were only 400 seats in the library. The number of seats was increased from 400 to 1,000. Then it was increased to 1,500. And we were feeling that there is a shortage of space. Still, we were feeling there is a shortage of space. And then I submitted a proposal for construction of another library hall with a capacity of 1,000. Though it was not completed, it was not started during my tenure. It was started later on, and it's going to be complete. And there will be 2,500 seats in that library. This demand is going to be placed even here and even in other libraries. So, though the space for storage will lessen, but the space for reading area will have to be increased. The librarians will have to look for and develop such tools as learning management systems. Learning management system is a system where we can where the universities can hire teachers, or the universities can develop their teachers to prepare videos, and those videos can be uploaded on the university website through the library portal, and those videos will be available to all the students 24/7. Dr. R.C. Agarwal also made a mention of MOOCs. MOOCs are covered under this system. The librarians in the new environment will have to be very careful about the intellectual property rights. Intellectual property rights acts have international application. When a person has published some document, either in electronic form or in a print form in India, it doesn't mean the person outside India can copy it and use it. No, it has international application. So therefore, librarians will have to be very careful about the intellectual property rights also. What I foresee is that the paper form is going to stay for a long time. F.W. Lancaster has predicted in 1970s that the world is going to be paperless by the turn of 20th century. But it has not happened. It has happened to some extent only. It has not happened in large measure. But we are heading towards paperless society slowly and slowly. But libraries are going to be a hybrid libraries, having paper material, having electronic material. As far as the microforms are concerned, they have already become obsolete, and then the literature contained in microforms have already been converted into digital form. So these two forms are going to stay for a long time, and the libraries will be hybrid libraries in the time to come. But we should not relax. We should make preparations to change ourselves. We should keep pace with the changing scenario. We should train ourselves and upgrade our skills to meet the future challenges as posed by pandemic COVID-19 during the last year, and it's still a problem for us. And libraries, I suppose, and I hope, and I'm sure, will rise to the occasion in future also, as they have done during the last 1 year of lockdown period. Thank you very much. I thank you very much, and to give me an opportunity to speak and deliver this keynote address and complete it after the main inaugural function. Thank you very much.